We have here Hegle Sarapuu from Trinidad Wiseman. She's also lecturing at Tallinn University and also doing trainings in this UX field. And she will now actually start to talk about the techniques, how to persuade people. So listen carefully. You can take it.
I did some slides.
The green button there. On a view full screen. Ta-da!
Yes. So this was really hard for me to prepare because the area is so wide. There's so many tactics and so many possibilities. And then I just thought that, okay, I will start from somewhere. I tried to take like most important ones, and then I continuously remembered more and more that I wanted to say. So if I go over time or approaching it, please tell me, because otherwise I'm going to continue until you sleep. So it's your fault then. Okay, so who wants to have slides? This is the link. Later on you can also get the link. You can go there and download those. Well, some of you already know me. Actually, I'm quite old. I started IT 20 years ago. Scary. We had this kind of Windows 95 going on, 98, counting. And at the time I was running around with the screwdriver, and I got enough of it, because I like to speak with people instead of being under the table screwing something out, because there was like those computers were quite big and under the table at the time. So and then at some point in software area, I thought there has to be a way how you should do user interfaces so that there won't be any troubles. And that was the beginning of my UX career, I would say. So, what makes them act? Well, we're humans. And basically, if someone does something you want them to do, they only do it because it benefits them. You can be really, really wise, but somehow all the people are selfish, regardless what they say. They are selfish. And there's either selfish reasons or those really old survival urges and instincts. Well, most of those things we're speaking today are going back to this day, where you have to be together to survive. So social pressure actually comes from there. Also, all about food, sex, protection, everything comes from there too. So if you mess with those topics, then you can make people to do some things. And then there's this nice triangle, you all know. Well, it almost goes like this, yes. But the good thing is, persuasion tactics and influence is like as old as we are being here as a community. different ways how people have tried to do that. The oldest way is like just beat up someone and you can take the meal, things like that. So this is also influence tactics. People do what you want to. So it's not this new kind of cool way to make people do things. It's really old thing. And there's like the second thing, you cannot really make them to do things if they really, really, really don't want to do something. So it's not magic bullet or magic wand. But if they are not sure, then you can do something already. And yes, it doesn't work if they know that you try this tactic on them. Because in a moment they realize that they can choose. So more tactics you know by yourself, less people can influence you. So in design, well, the first thing is designing itself as a practice is influencing practice. So there's no point of saying that I'm designing and I'm not trying to influence anyone. Well, you're a really bad designer then, because you even don't care. So basically, if you design anything, you try to influence. If you speak to people, then you try to influence. So I'm trying to influence all of you somehow right now. Yeah, and well, what you think is only good is also bad to someone. So there's no absolute good and absolute bad in the world. There's always some balance coming in. You triggered it doing good, also you did bad to someone. So if we speak about ethics later on, then actual question is who can decide where to go, basically. And yes, I wanted to do this example before I start doing anything else. Because this is the book example, how to persuade people. Everyone knows if I'm speaking on persuasion, you have to make this example because this is the best one. Well, it is. Anyway, you know what is it? Yes? Almost everyone has used that somehow. Well, booking.com, of course. So basically, if you try to book something for tomorrow in reasonable size city, then this is the top 3 things you will get. Not exactly the hotel, but basically you have this last minute thing, and this is the last one, and you missed something already, and you read popular dates and things like that. So everything tries you to make an act right now. Because if you close that window, then they're pretty sure that you're just going to walk in to the hotel and ask to have free rooms. So, and they are going to lose business. So, well, this is persuasion in its purest form, basically. So, it might not even be true. And of course, everyone knows if you go to booking, then you have to go to incognito mode. Otherwise, you're getting higher prices every time you come back, right? So, just to say. Now, this is off the table now. I'm not going to speak about that anymore. But if you ask examples, then this is one. So, yeah. Well, in user interface, there is a certain point where we can start to influence people. And this point is not just having the functionality, actually. Well, you influence people, but it's not like really beneficial in a way. Then if you have functionality already, then the next step is to have reliable functionality. Someone has tested it. It works like you expect it, right? So this is your decent software already, usually. Decent web page, and most of the websites actually are on that level. Some of them are here too. But Then the next step is usable functionality. So I can actually do something. So what I intended to do, I could manage to do that. So basically, I would say it's not like big of the influence right now. It's just if I do it bad, then, well, not everyone can do what they want to. So I'm losing business just. So if I fix the usability, then I get so that everyone who wants to buy can buy, so they don't drop off somewhere in the process. But after that, things get more interesting. Effective to use. So if you have managed to get this level, then you can use some tricks. Because if you do it before, people will get angry at you. So basically, if you say, buy, and then it's unusable, nobody can buy, then they are really, really pissed at you. So don't try it beforehand. Effective to use. So now you can influence with time, all those different aspects of persuasion. And if you have managed that level, then you can even influence people more, because they try to do things more and more. And yes, there's after we cherry on the top, of course, and then this makes you believers and fans, this last thing. You rarely see pages on that level, but you can always work on it. Just so you know. So, on the usability level, so if things have to be usable, you can persuade people a bit. Basically, the main idea is that everything what you want them to do is easier to do, and everything you don't want them to do is really, really complex and hard. So this is called dark patterns, usually. And the dark patterns makes it easy to buy, but really hard to return, and easy to submit yourself to the email, but you have to use snail mail to get rid of it. Things, really evil things, right? Paying taxes is one of those patterns too, usually. So if you want people to pay taxes, it has to be easy, really good, easy to do, and much easier than to deal with the consequences if you don't pay. So, and this only works because we have been built so that the energy is really limited. So our brain takes quite lots of energy from our body. Unfortunately, not enough, as you see, but quite a lot. And we're built so that we are going to keep this energy spending as low as we can have. So that's easy things works better. And deciding is really hard work too. So we do around 30,000 decisions, 35 maybe, some person even more, every day. So all the little decisions, should I eat potato instead of salad today, vice versa, should I take this good, nice cake, should I go to sleep now or maybe later, will I have drinks with friends, what should we eat in the evening, should we eat at all, should I go to the training, so on and so on. And will I go out from home before I will read my emails and stuff like that. So all those pieces, small, tiny decisions, they take away energy. So in the evening, you are like really done all the deciding, so you don't care anymore. Basically, you just go sit on the divan and try to not think at all. And if someone asks something, I don't know, go do something. So this is the moment you can actually make people to make bad decisions, basically. Because if they really, really have to decide on that moment, then they rely all those things how they seem, and all those tricks that you can use. So I'm going to speak about those tricks later on too. So yeah, yeah. Basically, there's like 6 different fast ways to people to make decisions. Well, this is one of them. So if we are not sure what to watch, but it seems maybe I want to watch something, then Netflix has really good possibilities for you. Popular right now, trending right now. So basically, if everyone else is watching those things, they have to be good decisions. So you're still going to watch this Netflix movie, or at least most of the times. Well, if you add the time pressure to anything, then of course you have much more possibilities, because if you are tired and you have to act fast, then you're sloppy too. So basically, you rely even more on those tactics. So of course, this beautiful emotional design. This is what we all want to do as designers. Trendy, new, polished. Yes, beautiful things work better because beautiful is more trustworthy. Because, you know, if it's ugly, then this company is probably really bad at things, right? Beautiful people are more honest. Well, they are better in any way. Of course, beautiful user interface is more user-friendly. So if you have a problem in user interface, but it's beautiful, then you will be okay with that for some time before you call to anyone. Of course, all the beautiful objects create desire more. So roundy thing, shiny, polished, smooth stuff. And you remember better. I mean, emotional things like emotional design. Oh yeah, I saw that car. That was so nice, right? And it's easier to accept things. So if beautiful person says, "Come with me, let's go to somewhere," you probably want to go. So, well, and of course they're pure and, you know, not evil at all. So this is the impression usually. And that's why more uglier people play as a bad guy part in movies too. So, well, of course we have colors and items. Well, human brain works so that we connect things. So every sensation we have connects with something. So if I see something, items and sensations around that item and this sensation comes to my mind faster. And if I change topic rapidly, then it's really slow to understand what the other person says and even remember things. So basically, if you want people to use user interface faster, then you should use all the colors and images that kind of connect with the topic. And if you want them to make things slower, sometimes you might, and then try to use colors that are completely off topics, pictures that are completely off topic, no connection whatsoever. So this is how you affect people. And also emotion, we call it priming. So with pictures, colors, items, we prime people towards the emotion we want them to have at the moment when they decide. Yeah. So, social pressure. Well, you saw these old times, people had to live together and they had to survive. So, meaning that they wouldn't kick themselves out from the cave and things like that. More they had people, the better chance they had to survive. So naturally, our survival based on social norms and social activities. So we're social. And usually social pressure works when person is not really sure about things. So they kind of like want to do something, but they're not sure, should they? And then the social pressure works good. But social pressure is kind of like weak persuasion tactics, but it quite often actually still works. I don't know why. Anyway, well, the other people act this way, so maybe I should act the same way to be kind of not seen that much. You promised us, you have to deliver if you have promised something, right? If I make you a gift, you have to make me a gift too. And if I'm really clever, then my gift is going to be a bigger one, what I'm going to receive, not giving out, of course. And of course, you're a normal person only if your mind is continuous. So not changing your mind too much, because, you know, not stable people change their mind all the time, right? So socially, we try to be continuous. And of course, I mean, if you had said that out loud, then you definitely have to keep being continuous, even if it's not good for you anymore. Yes, socially acceptable. So basically, if I will do a survey right now and asking like, you know, how many of you hate really this kinder shelter kids? How many of you hate them? Well, socially, this is not okay to say, you know. So no. And how many times you want to kill a cat? Nobody? You do? 3 times. Okay, good. You too? Okay, so a couple of braves. So basically, but now, if you don't want to hate children in the shelter, those pure little children, maybe you can give some money to have them better homes. How about now? Are you willing to pay? Well, you don't want to, but if I'm really going to ask you really nicely more and more, and everyone is watching, then you probably give some, at least. Of course, some people are really like more generous. So yeah, and what you say, more and more you say it, more you start actually going to behave like this. Okay, my time is going. Okay. Yeah, and fairy tales, of course, social norms, how to make people to understand what is socially acceptable and what is not. So every culture has their fairy tales, and then those fairy tales are teaching us. All the tales actually do. So the priming is, but first thing, if you have to think about number from 1 to 10, think one number. So raise your hand, how many of you thought about 7? Yeah, well, this is priming, because there was a picture about those 7 guys. So this is priming. You can do it anytime. You don't really have to work really too hard. But for example, if I would have said like how much you want to donate for the children, then maybe €7 would be fine. Yeah. So this is priming. And priming can be text, speech, anything that connects your brain with something. So if I ask something from you, but I have primed some thoughts into some areas in your mind, then your answer is more related to that. Closure, we need to have closure. So if something has started to roll, you really need to see how it ends. Otherwise, you're going to think about that. So bigger starting, the more you think about those things. So, if someone is moving something here and cat is watching, you're really excited. Okay, when this cat is going to jump now? And you watch and you watch and you watch, right? If you're here, then you really try to make it so that you will get there. And if that is rounding, then, even it's 10 minutes, you're still looking that round thing, because it's really, satisfying to watch that. Okay, well, losing. If you lose something, then this is the worst thing. If you lose something you don't have, this is especially a really bad thing too. So for example, if I say, okay, I will show you once in a lifetime, one slide I will never show again, and this is not in a slide deck. But you have to do something for me. Then if this is like really small thing, what I'm asking, you're going to, because otherwise you're losing this one lifetime opportunity to have that. But losing something that you have already is even worse. That might be your reputation. People work really hard to keep the reputation. So, or, you have lots of things at home. So it's just really hard to lose them, right? So it's always like hard decision to do. And yeah, losing a chance is the same as something else. Countdown, begin things makes you act faster. Afraid of losing this opportunity because the clock is ticking away is really big motivator. And if someone really important says things, of course, if you do bigger tasks to smaller tasks, then people are more probably going to fill that form, because this big task is not that big anymore. And of course, if you have invested something like your money or time, then you really work really hard to keep that investment in place. If it's possible that you lose it, you work really hard to keep it, or persuade people that it was good investment. Yeah, and that was it for today. And sorry, time. You had a question?
You mentioned about the fairy tales that. Oh, should I? Okay. So there was a saying about fairy tales are teaching us how to be socially not bad. Does that mean that we actually are, or social references or something, is kind of like teaching us or brainwashing us in a sense, like you have to act that way and act that way? But that's kind of like not a human being thing. Then we like just socializing this thing on top of what we actually are. That's true. Okay.
Why do you think you go to school? So this is also priming, and then social norms, and then everyone teaching you, parents are teaching you, telling fairy tales to you. Anyway, it works. Otherwise, you will be out of the control, and you will be in trouble in the future, right? Trial and error, many generations. So this is just truth from old people is coming. We all brainwashed, yes. Any other questions? That's okay. Then
Yeah, actually, what I forgot to say before is that you can ask questions. We are using Slido. You can enter this website, and using this code, it just pops up immediately, and you can ask questions. So later on, also during the panel, you can ask more questions. So
you put in your slide the link to get your slide. How does that work? You give us the slide so you can get the slide.
yeah, well, maybe we should put it up again, or later on put it up, probably.
yeah. That's easy.
Or we can post them on the Facebook group.
Exactly.
So, yeah. It's just if you send just my slides to someone, then they also get the original.
All right. Thank you, Hegle.